Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Christopher Rausch, your No Excuses coach, here with a special announcement to say, hey, listen, guess who's going to be in Chicago, April 28th, 2022 at the Stan Mansion. Christopher Rausch, your No Excuses coach, is going to be there, and I'm excited because this is all about the teens. This is all about taking professional speakers with amazing stories and coming live and pouring into the teens and creating an amazing life-changing event that helps them walk away with a lot of tools to arm themselves to have a kick-ass, awesome life. So I'm excited to be there at the Stan Mansion. It is the Power of We Symposium. There it is on the screen, www.thepowerofwesymposium.com. Check it out. Myself, Lauren Michaels Harris is going to be there. Dom Possett's going to be there. Jason Cisneros is going to be there. So many other impactful speakers are going to be there sharing their hearts and their wisdom to make this world a better place through those kids. So check us out April 28th. Go to Chicago. Be there. Join me there. I'd love to buy you a drink and just have a great conversation. No excuses. We'll see you there. Power of We, April 28th. Cheers.
The Power of We was a way of inclusion, a way of inviting anyone who needed or wanted a place to belong.
It was just very clear to me that this was something that would really benefit the young folks right here.
And to be able to give them a different perspective, that I know where they come from, I know what they're experiencing because I was there too. And letting them know that there's different actions that they can take that'll lead to a different destiny.
We really needed to hear that. In order to change our community, we needed to hear that.
And they are inspired to invest in making it happen. That's powerful.
Hey, let me do this. I need some light. There it is. My skin is simply glowing, if I say so myself. Anyway, yeah, I'm feeling a little goofy today because it's, well, T to the G to the I to the F. Happy Friday. And, did you hear? Oh my goodness. Did you guys hear? They canceled the Grammys because of what happened with Will Smith. Did you guys hear that? Of course you didn't, because it's April Fool's. I bet somebody what they did. I don't care. I know I got at least one of you. Now my April Fool's hunger is complete. There you go. I told you guys the other day. I used to be really bad with the April Fool's jokes. And one year I had Chelsea Clinton pregnant. And everybody's like, what? And she was probably like 12, right? So right. So that one worked really well. But where I lost it, and I got cussed out probably like 8 times that day, was when I said Oprah was in a train accident and she was on the brink of death. Don't play with Oprah with people. That's one thing I learned. April Fool's Day, Halloween, nothing. You can dress as her, but do not kill off Oprah in a joke. I think there was like an angry mob looking for me. I'm just saying. So anyway, so I learned my lesson. And so I know I keep it very basic with my little jokes. But I was that kid when I was little. I'm not kidding. I used to lay in my mom's bathtub for like an hour with like, I would order that fake blood out of the back of the comic book. And I would like pour it all over me and then put a knife like on the floor and then lay there waiting for her to come in. And she would walk in and act like she wouldn't even see me. And then she'd just say, would you get out of my bathtub and clean that mess up? And I was like, how did she know I wasn't murdered? I was that kid. What kind of kid were you? Listen, kids, and more kids. The Power of We Symposium. I'm feeling good today considering it's now April and our event is April 28th. Please, you guys, send us some light, some love, some encouragement. We still have $7,911 to raise, but that's how it is every time we do it. And somehow we get there. This isn't going to be any different. I'm moving out in faith like I do in all things that matter with changing the world. I mean, if we think about it, if we really knew what we were going to grow into as we challenge ourselves to be of service to the world, most of us wouldn't even do it because it would look too daunting. It would look like, I can't do that. That's why blind faith, I'm telling you, gotta have blind faith, which means you're not like just, no, but you don't have to see it all to get started. Can I get an amen? Okay. So I want you guys to think about that. We're praying for peace, of course, in the Ukraine. So much is going on over there. And in other places of the world that are foreshadowed because of that. But there's stuff going on every day, everywhere. And so it is up to us to just shed a little love, shed a little healing around the world, wherever we are in the world. So don't underestimate your power of we to change this world, okay? So got a great guest for you today, a guy who I have grown in just a short period of time to really respect. He's taught me so much already and he doesn't even know it. And I'm going to tell you guys something. You don't hear me say this all the time, but I am telling you, I think I said this how many times? Joshua Berglund, I said it. Tucker Bearden, I said it. Misty Lane, I said it. Gabriel Klingman, I said it. And now I'm going to say it again. Keep your eyes on this one. Gilbert Rodriguez, very unassuming, a gentle giant, but a gifted writer, an anointed speaker. And he has had a challenge all his life, just like so many of us. But just like Gabriel Klingman, he's going to be doing a keynote at the Power of We Symposium on the 28th of this month, where he speaks on how, what is his title? His title is you can't change. I kind of want to get it wrong. You can't. I'll get it on the break. You can't change what happens in your life, but you can change what you do with it. Something like that. Brilliant. And the bell of purpose almost fell off the desk. The thing is so heavy. Have you seen it? Look at this. This thing. Okay, that's. Hey, I can work out with this. Huh. Okay, so listen. What I love about what I was getting at with Gabriel Klingman is he's going to talk about how all of his siblings and one of the parents, I'm not sure if it's the mom or the dad, but one of the parents, all are navigating through life with a diagnosis of MPD, multiple personality disorder. And Gabriel just sold a company for a lot of money with his brother and another kid who in 2 years took it and did it and sold it. And I believe, like our guest today, like with my ADHD, these labels, these mental health labels, if you will, that somehow find a way of changing or morphing, if you will, from a label into a scarlet letter, a blanket of shame. I lived underneath one for decades, all the way up to the 5th decade, right around 50. I started seeing if I could peel it off, and lo and behold, thank you, God, I shed it. So Gilbert's here today because he navigates and does all those things that I just mentioned, but through the eyes or the lens of bipolarism. So let's get him in. And then I have a little clip I want to show you guys, just for those of us who think we know what it looks like. I happened in college, I had a roommate, Billy, who was bipolar. And I remember only one time he couldn't drive or anything. So he had a bike, and he was just the nicest guy, kind of like Gilbert, real, big, beefy guy, but just as quiet as but one day, I'm not kidding you, I'll never forget it. And this was in the 80s, early 80s. He opened the refrigerator door. He came in, he opened the refrigerator door to get a drink out. He just come back. We were in Arizona, and he had just come back on his bike. So of course it was hot. He opened up the refrigerator, was talking over his shoulder like regular old Billy. Turned around, bent in and pulled out his drink, and turned around and slammed the door and threw the drink against the wall and started knocking things over. And I had never seen anything like it. I didn't know if I should run, stay put, call an ambulance. I had no idea. It was my first time witnessing a manic episode. And so for those who have never seen it, I found something that I'm going to show everybody. A girl on YouTube, she actually caught herself recorded herself in one of her manic states, and she shows it to us. So we're going to take a look and then ask Gilbert if it has anything to do with does it remind him of anything he's ever dealt with. But anyway, I'm really proud that he's here. This is his first time here, and it's never easy. When we talk about our shames, when we honor those scars and we give our scars the voice that they've always had, the story that they've always been a part of, and we share that story with the world so others who could be hurting could start healing. So, I honor that. Get on your feet, put some hearts on the screen, and more importantly, put your heart into this conversation today as we welcome to the stage Gilbert Rodriguez. Here he comes. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good morning, Gilbert. Thank you for getting up. I don't know what time you got up, but it's 6:16 out in California, so I appreciate that. I really do. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, thank you.
Good. So let's just get right to it. But before we do, I'm gonna give you the floor. Why don't you say hello to everybody? Tell them where in California you are. And that stuff you sent me about your family and your kids and all that. I decided instead of reading them, I'm gonna let you put your own passion behind those accolades and just tell them what you told me, and then we'll get started. Go ahead, all you.
Okay. Actually, I'm in Tucson, Arizona. I'm not in California. And,
why? It's because you're on the same time as California. That's right. You are in Tucson. You're in Tucson. Yeah. You know what? I spent 6 weeks of my life there when I was at the University of Arizona staging. That's where we went to stage our show for Up With People right out of high school. And I lived up on my host family lived up on a place called Mount Lemon.
I remember up with people.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up with people. I was a soloist in there. It was wonderful. Do they still have Mount Lemon?
Oh, of course. Mount Lemon is one of the highest mountains. That's where everybody goes skiing at, actually.
Okay. They were like one of 3 houses back then in 1980. They were like, there was no one up there. And yeah. So the Hartmans, I remember, oh, they were so nice. They were so nice. I wonder if I could find them on Facebook. The Sons, anyway. Well, listen, go ahead. Tell everybody you're in Tucson and go from there.
So I'm in Tucson, Arizona, and I am the father of 4 children, Kaylee, Corinne, Benicia, and Elijah. The ages are from 19 to 8 years old. Oh. And I've been doing construction all my life over here until I decided to make the change and start focusing on my passion, which is people, and become a voice for bipolarism and an advocate to kind of eliminate the stigma that's been placed upon it. Yeah. And I'm just so excited. Gilbert we came together about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Well, we started talking about, and Gilbert's actually inside of my P3 program, which you saw earlier, Purpose, Passion, and Patience. And I mean that, Gilbert. I'd never said that to you in our sessions or anything, but I really am. I'm excited to work with you. I'm honored to work with you. And it means so much to me that that we can trust each other as we move forward, locked arm in arm. And that means you all too, shedding our light, not just like a pinpoint because we're way away in a vantage safe spot trying to help somebody see something. No, we're right down there at the edge of those dark forests where people are scared, and we come in and we lock arms, and now the light covers the whole pathway so we can all see where we're going, and we can see that there's healing in all that we've ever lived and all that we ever will live. So I just wanted to get that out there and let you know I mean that from the heart, man. I really do. I appreciate that. Thank you. Of course. So I'm going to show a little clip that I found on YouTube where a young lady shares her manic episode, and I want us to take a look. And I want there's Nat in here, and then we're going to talk about. You've had some of those, I know, because we've talked about it, and then we'll go from there. So everybody, take a look at this, and then chime in if any of you have ever witnessed or been a part. You have a family member, a loved one, maybe even you have dealt with bipolarism and manic episodes. Chime in today. We're trying to learn. We're trying to heal. We're trying to grow. So let's take a look at this. Here we go.
Hello. Hi. Okay. So as you guys could tell by the title, this is a video in which I show you guys myself having a manic episode. So obviously, like right now, I'm not like super duper crazy manic or I'm having like a crazy episode. I'm just almost normal right now, but a little while ago, like it was nighttime, and I got really, really manic, and I thought to myself that I had this genius realization that the One Direction song Stockholm Syndrome just perfectly describes me, and I needed to just like write it down, and my hands were shaking really hard. So instead I just decided to record myself just in the middle of the night, like super manic, and I rewatched that recording, and I was just like, yikes. But I know a lot of people don't really know what mania is like, or like they're curious about what it's like to have like a manic episode. And this isn't like the worst episode that I've had by any means. Like worst episode, I cut off my hair. One of the worst episodes. I actually overdosed in another bad episode. So yeah, this is definitely not the worst. But I think just like the way I'm talking and like how my attention span is very short, and like things that I'm saying aren't making any sense, and I think that's all like overall like a good representation of mania. So yeah, I'm just gonna insert the clip right here so you guys can see for yourself, and I can stop talking about it. I don't know why I'm describing it when you can just see it. Baby, look what you've done. I've come to a genius realization. just needed to move. I don't know why I needed to move. I'm gonna sit down. Sit on the floor. Okay, so I just came to realize. So I was just shuffle playing my music. Okay, I was just shuffle playing it. Like anything could come on. I don't know what's gonna come on. And then put you down right here. Okay, am I gonna put you down? I don't know how to put you down. Just stay somewhere, phone. Okay, let's make it. You stayed. Okay, so I don't like this here because I can see the mess and just shit. You fell. Are you okay? Okay, so I'm going to go over here to this side of the floor. Okay, so I just had this genius realization, and I was just like, I need to just tell myself. Okay, so Stockholm Syndrome by One Direction is the perfect depiction of mania. Like everything about that song, like even from the beginning, like I don't remember what the beginning is.
Let me get everybody back in. Okay, I stopped it there. Because what did I just do? Hold on, y'all. I blew up the screen. We're huge on there. Okay, there we go. Let's talk about it. What did anything in that little clip, that little bit, and I'm sure there was more because it was a 7-minute something clip, but I sensed it the way it was like, and she's all alone in there, remember? So if I would have not told you what that was, Gilbert, and just showed it to you, would you have recognized or identified with any of that stuff in there?
Very, very, very close. If you look at her eyes right away, you can tell she's been sleep deprived for a few days. They were really blackened around the circle, real dark black circles around her eyes.
Yeah, I would have
which is
picked that
a
up.
sign of not sleeping. And then her sporadic behavior and talking to herself, and also just trying to do too much. Trying to do too much and just being really unfocused.
Gilbert, at what age did you officially get diagnosed with bipolarism?
I was diagnosed. I was at the age of 32 or 33.
Oh.
It was real late. I had an episode with police officers that brought it all out and kind of made a lot of sense to me as to it didn't make any sense to me at the time as to what had happened and how it happened. But after reviewing the reports and seeing what I did, it made a lot of sense where I had the power and the mindset to have this invincible power.
Can you share a little bit about? Can you paint the picture of what that? Do you remember? I'm sure you do. Tell us what it was like. How did it go down?
I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've always had my own small kind of business going on of some sort. And at this one particular time, my wife and I had just been recently married, and she was younger than me by 10 years, I think, 10 or 11 years. So she was 21 and she was 21 and I was 33. So we had our first child, and by the age of 2, her and I were starting to have complications in our relationship, unbeknownst that I was bipolar and was using drugs and alcohol to self-medicate myself. So with the relationship, we split up. I had moved out, went and found my own house, and as soon as I found the house to reside in with my daughter, the baby's mom had called the authorities to do what they call a welfare check. And anybody can do this for anybody that they're concerned with. Wherever you are, USA, you can call the authorities and do what they call a welfare check. And from a welfare check, then the person has the ability to put what they call a petition against you, and they can pick you up. The authorities can pick you up and legally take you away to a mental facility or mental crisis center to
For
get yourself.
observation.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
intervene.
Yeah. That's
So
that behavioral sciences center and stuff, right? Where they watch you for like 72 hours or something.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. They get you on the medication that you need to be on,
Mhm.
and they watch you and make sure that you're not a danger to yourself or to others.
Okay.
And so the police had come over to my house, and me not knowing what they were there for, I had just came out of the shower from being after work. So all I had on was just a Hawaiian shirt, no underwear, no socks, no shoes, no nothing, just a Hawaiian shirt. I answered the door like that,
Oh.
and so that's one of the other things with being in a mania. You just don't care.
Uh-huh.
What you look like, what you feel like, what you act like. You have no consideration about your appearance. You just think that you're good to go all the time.
Mhm.
You're really unaware of your surroundings. And so the police had knocked on the door. When they went to open the door, uh, they wanted to come in the house, so they opened the screen door. As soon as they opened the screen door, they went to grab my wrist. Well, I just reacted, and we got into an altercation. That was with one officer. The next officer came in. Him and I were rolling around. So as it turned out, 13 officers I had come encountered with, and basically beat them all up to where they had to restrain me
Okay.
with they just had to maul me basically to hold me down.
Wait a
And
minute. I remember you. You're that guy that used to turn green and all your pants and stuff would get really shredded. And oh yeah, the Incredible Hulk.
pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Now
And
they
I didn't.
clearly they didn't have tasers back then.
No, they weren't aware of it, and they weren't really aware of what mental illness was back, 19 years ago.
Okay.
It was really coming out. I mean, they had hospitals and they had institutions, for mentally challenged people, but not for people of which they don't appear to have it, like myself.
So were you just extremely strong, or does the mania make you even stronger?
Both, both, both.
Oh.
Yeah, I was what come to find out, what happens is you feel as though you're superhuman in anything that you do. If there's a building that's high, you want to jump off that building and think you can land on your 2 feet. If you can run through the wall, you'll try and run through the wall. If
So pretty much invincible.
Yeah, if you want to pick up a car, you'll go and try and pick up a car. It's a real touchy situation. So when I got into all this, the altercations with all these police officers, they put me in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They had released me, and they were actually kind of shocked and surprised that I had gotten that far with that many officers. And
you think?
And so the backstory to all of it, my energy came from fighting for my daughter. Basically, I was just trying to do good and be better and move on ahead with my daughter. And my ex-wife was kind of fighting those forces against me. And unbeknownst to myself, I didn't know I had, bipolar. I never heard of it.
Let me ask you, what made her call them? Did she have an inkling? Did she have some kind of a hunch that you had some mental illness issues going on, even if she didn't know what to call them? Or was she afraid? Was she afraid for you?
She worked for the Superior Courthouse here in Tucson.
Hmm.
So she had some insight. Yeah, she had some insight to what it was all about, and she was obviously coached and given some advice as to what to do. Looking at it now, it was probably a fortune. As bad as it being a misfortune, it was a fortunate thing that I did find out.
Yes.
Where that power came from.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's look even further back over your shoulder. So that day it came to a head, almost like a pimple, right? But when so then I because we all did this or need to. After that episode, when you started going backwards from that day, how far did you trace those footsteps of this mania? When did you know? Because you go back and go, I wonder if that time when I broke that bat at softball practice when I was 11, I wonder if that was some of this. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
did you start seeing the trail of this thing from earlier years in your life and you just didn't know what it was when people didn't
Right.
understand you? Okay.
Right.
So, what would they
I
call
had,
it?
I had outlashes with other relationships,
Oh.
other girlfriends that I'd had in the past. And, you know, obviously they all were severed because of my personality. That we were all unaware of. We didn't know that. I never really heard of bipolar. I never heard of mental illness until the day that I was diagnosed, and I received the papers and said that, you know, I was. They call it seriously mentally ill with psychotic disorders, and I didn't know that. I didn't know what that meant. Primarily, as growing up, we were raised in a town of Marana, which was a small little country town, and all of us people and children that went to the schools, we were all from broken homes. We didn't have parental guidance. You know, everybody back in the 70s and the 80s, the parents were always working, and the kids were basically out to raise themselves.
Latchkey. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all latchkey kids, and so from doing that, we had no special derivatives of certain orders. You know, we raised ourselves. We had access to alcohol. We had access to drugs. Um, I was a number one football player here at one of the schools here in town. So again, with that being said, unknowns to playing football since I was 8 years old, taking those explosions to my head, and you know, being tackled and being in that sport, it kind of has some continuity to what, you know, transpired into being bipolar. And then started looking down my lineage to my ancestors and my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. There's certain people within my family that never made any awareness that it's happening. Even still today, right now, it's kind of like a hush hush thing within the family that certain people within our family have mental illnesses that they don't talk about. Mine,
join the club.
Mine is spoken because it's obviously public record from what I did, and we're in a small town. I mean, Tucson may be big, but yet it's still small.
Yeah.
And so,
were there charges against you from that tussle with all those policemen, and how did that turn out?
Ironically, no, there was no charges.
Well, that's encouraging. That means that they were like, listen, this guy didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah. They attempted to press charges against me, and I found a judge. His name was Judge Nichols, and he's one of the pioneers to mental health courts here in Tucson, who kind of initiated, you know, a sidebar court for people like myself to give them just a little leniency and a more understanding of what goes on when those certain episodes happen. How we
almost like drug court for people who are addicted, who get in trouble. They have drug court.
Yeah, exactly.
Been there,
exactly.
done that.
Yeah.
Okay. I did.
So Judge Nichols had a pivotal part in all of it. He had they were wanting to send me to prison, you know, charges for each officer that I had altercations with. And Judge Nichols stepped in and said, no, let's not send him to prison. Let's send him to the state hospital to be evaluated.
There you go.
And so that's why I went to the state hospital.
Thank you, Judge Nichols.
And had to go, and I had to go and live that whole lifestyle. It was literally one who flew over the cuckoo's nest when I walked in.
Talk about that.
White suits, and you know.
Sorry, I did. You're talking my language now. What's it like in there? You know, because we see it in movies and stuff. You know, people running around and saying stuff and coming. Hey,
It's very much true.
So talk
it's
about
scary.
that. Yeah, take us in. What was going through your mind? Did you think your life was over? Did you think this is where I'm going to be? I'm crazy. When you were going in there that first day and the stuff you saw, what was happening? Did you just accept it? Were you pushing back from inside? What was your mindset? What were you going through?
I was relieved that I wasn't going to prison. I was really relieved for that matter.
Okay, that makes sense. Not so crazy after all.
And then I was being able to give a second chance to redeem what had happened. But yeah, we rode a bus to Phoenix, fully shackled, like ankle bracelets and shackles and
As if you were
all that. Like I'm being on the rock yard. I'm just a man on the chain gang, basically, and that's what they called it. They called it back then. They would call it the chain gang, where everybody was shackled up together, and we would all walk, like penguins to wherever we were going. And so we had to take the bus in shackles and handcuffs to Phoenix. And I'll never forget driving up to the state hospital, and then it really dawned on me where I was going, because it looked like a penitentiary. The hospital is a really old hospital, and it's funny because we get off the bus and we all get moved into line to go into the institution.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget walking into the institution for the first time, and the lady opens the door, and they were having a group. And as she opens the door, the group's singing in harmony. What was the boat? The yellow. There was a certain boat. Dang.
The Yellow Submarine?
Yes, that's the song.
We all live in the Yellow Submarine.
That's the song. Yes.
Oh my God! Were you there?
Yeah. So I walked in. I walked in on that group, and that's the song that they were singing. I'll never forget it. Now that you mentioned it. So I walk. The door opens, and I walk in, and they're all like 20 people in harmony. We all live in a yellow submarine. And it was at that moment I knew that I was in a crazy house, and I just had to do anything and everything to get out of there as fast as I can. And the only way to get out of there is you had to take a competency test on how the judicial system worked. How the judge works, how the lawyers work, how all these people work, and they would only give you the test if you studied for it, and you were able to pass it. So I saw that as a ticket to get out quickly, and I immediately said, "Let me have the test." And they said, "Well, you haven't studied for it." And I said, "Well, I don't care. I feel confident enough to take the test. I know, what each part does in the system."
Okay.
So they said, "If you're ready for it, Mr. Rodriguez, we'll give it to you." And so they
but
gave me the test.
If you fail,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you pay a price. So I took the test and I passed it on the first shot. I passed it. And so I was one of the first people in the institution to be released within 30 days, I think. Otherwise, they wanted to hold you for 90 or something like that. But I got out of there. I got out of there quickly.
Okay. Why is it, for me, whenever I picture, as you put it, a crazy house, the hallways are always like linoleum. There's never carpet, and they're shiny, and there's those bright lights, and everything's white. So, but I want to know, at nighttime, and you're in your, number one, did they lock you in? And number two, did you hear stuff like they show in movies, like people moaning or laughing hysterically, or what was that like?
All of it. Really wild cries at night. There's a lot there. There are truly mentally, hardship people. I mean, that are really struggling with hearing voices. They see demons. They don't really know what they're doing in their right mind.
Mm-hmm.
But all things considered, I feel bad for those kind of people because they just get pushed to the wayside and just are shunned, to shut up basically and just
stay here and die.
yeah, just
Oh.
pretty much treated like an animal, when they're in that position.
So let me ask you this. So you come out within 30 days, you go back to your life. Now I'm certain that somebody knew that you were locked up in there. How were you received after having gone there? Was it like, "Oh, don't hang around Gilbert, we're crazy. Didn't you hear? Gilbert was in the crazy house. I heard he killed 13 cops." Because you know how rumors are.
Yeah.
They just blow up. What did you feel? Did you see people looking at you like, how was it for you re-entering your life after that?
Society didn't know what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
My immediate friends didn't know what had happened.
Mm.
The oddity to all of it is my family knew. My immediate family, they all knew what had happened.
And
so I have always since then been playing the race card with them, being labeled crazy, not bipolar, not, whatever the diagnosis
they
disorder
won't
is.
use the diagnosis name. They just throw it crazy.
Yeah, it's flat out, he's crazy, or watch out for him, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Incredible Hulk.
How does that make you feel, first of all, and then how do you deal with those feelings, secondly?
At first I was, I felt a lot of, first of all, you feel a lot of disgust when you're involved with the law and involved with, breaking certain systems of certain things.
Sure.
And my family here in Tucson, there's a lot of us that have been here for a long time. We were all born and raised here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they all work for the city and they all work for the state, and and this, that, and they have that kind of a niche. And so it kind of almost shamed them by me shaming myself.
So the black sheep.
Well, and then it was funny because before all that, I was never considered that. I was always looked upon highly because of the businesses that I was running. Football and the businesses and my family.
Just like that, one man, one episode, one thing like that, getting locked up, and now it X'd out, null and voided all those things they loved about you, and now this is the blanket that is one size fits all. Well,
absolutely,
that's all he is and all he will ever be.
Absolutely, yep, exactly.
How did you feel? But if you had to pick one word, Gilbert, because I got Gabriel Klingman, I'm thinking about the multiple personalities. All of it's running around my ADH head. So we're all in here together. So let's just wave at each other. Because I know how my mental illness originally felt, and it was just one, and it wasn't even one of those that made people go, because first it was hyper when I was a kid, and then it was ADHD, later. But when you now possess this label, and you see how these people are changing around you, the ones you trust the most, what did you believe? Did you believe you were crazy? Did you believe you were the Hulk?
I didn't understand it. I didn't accept it for a long time. I knew that I was diagnosed it, and I knew what I had done to get the diagnosis.
Yes.
But I didn't understand where it came from, how I was, I don't know what the word would be, but how I inherited this disease.
Yes.
Why me, basically. It was a why me type of thing. And I did that for a long time, up until last year, basically. I finally said, why me? Because it is me, There's no more fighting it.
Well, Gilbert, first of all, while you were finding your way to your truth, because look, you see, it's never about one thing, y'all. It's not. And I believe that the shaming and all the stuff that comes with it is so that we don't understand. I believe my ADHD is a superpower. And I've heard you say that you believe the same thing about your bipolar, that you can use it like a superpower, wherein you shed light on it to help someone else get through it, live through it. Speaking of living through it, how many times did you, if ever, have thoughts of suicide prior to knowing and post knowing?
Ironically, I've never felt that.
See, thank you. I already knew that because you told me that in a session. But that's another thing. We all see what I'm saying. The reason I think that's important that people know about you, and I know you share that in your speaking, is that there's not just one set of warning signs. So, well, he never tried to kill himself. How bad could he be? That kind of thing. And then, well, let me just say this. Okay, so medication. When you left that hospital, you left on medication, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many were there?
There was like 5 or 6. It was the older medication too. It was the lithium. It was the Seroquels. It was all the really hard stuff to make you really zombie, to where you couldn't even really function in the daytime because you were just so lethargic from the medication.
I remember when I was in the behavioral sciences unit once for one of the many suicide attempts, there was a kid in there and he was on Thorazine. And they said, yeah, look at him. I said, why is he walking like that? And they said, oh, that's the Thorazine shuffle.
Right.
I mean, and we're all in there, and I was like you, looking around like, man, that's why I asked you that thing about nighttime, the sounds and stuff. Because I remember I was like this under my cover.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what if one of them comes in here and goes, Daddy? I mean it. I was like, wait a minute. Why am I thinking like that? Maybe I am crazy. It's just, so let's talk about, oh man, we got 10 minutes left. This story is so incredible. That's why you guys got to wait till you have the opportunity to see Gilbert speak in person. Man, Gilbert. So tell me this. How did you find your way to that place that, like, if it were a TED Talk, that little red rug where you stand today, where you go, you know what? I'm not taking what you say I am. I am creating who I know I am. What triggered that belief so strongly that you now live relatively just like anybody else that doesn't know or doesn't have some type of diagnosis for mental illness? People wouldn't know in most cases now unless you tell them. Mm-hmm. How did you get there?
It was from what they call bandit signs, the signs you see on the side of the road, for sale signs, whatever, but basically the little road signs. Mm-hmm. It was one of those, actually. It was a sign that said, make $5,000 to $10,000 a week or a month. If you don't believe, don't call, is what it said. The sign said. So I called the sign, and it happened to be a group of people from Phoenix called Liberty League. And Liberty League was a personal development group teaching people about personal development and how to change their mindset and how to start thinking correctly and things of that nature. Okay. So that was about, I'd say, 13, 14 years ago that I found that sign. And so from that sign, I got into personal development. And then from personal development, I started learning more about Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Les Brown, John Asseroff, Mark Victor Hansen, Greg Reed, Eric, all these prolific speakers. And I went to an event.
You left one of them out.
And yourself, Lauren.
I'm kidding. So, listen, you really would have been crazy if back then you just knew my name because I was out there with you. So I wasn't even in here yet. Okay, so what do you think? How did you know? What made you believe there was some hope within what all of those speakers had to offer? What was it? What guided you? How did you know?
It was a sense of belonging that they gave me. Every time I went to one of the events, I was always honored VIP status. I don't know why or how it always happened, but I would buy a general ticket admission, get to the event, and it always upgraded to a VIP status. So I was always hanging out with the VIPs, and I was always hanging out with the speakers themselves. And so there was a group in San Diego called the Secret Knock, which Greg Reed holds.
Greg Reed, yeah.
Yeah, holds twice
They
a year.
just had it. It just ended last week.
Yeah, just last week. Last week.
Yeah, yeah.
So I became an alumni to the Secret Knock. And from the Secret Knock, it catapulted and changed my life. And Greg still today always says, you know, why do you say that I changed your life? And he doesn't realize how pivotal his message and you know, just his attitude did change my life. So I started following those directions, and I announced to Bob Proctor, and this was 12 years ago, to Bob Proctor when I first met him, that I wanted to write a book. And he looked at me straight in the eye. He says, "Then just do it." And that's the way things have been going from that point on.
So how different today, Gilbert, is your belief of why you even have this piece of your story? Because being bipolar is not the full realm of who Gilbert is. So, but why do you feel that piece was so important that whatever you believe to be greater than you, placed it right in the center, like the egg yolk of your journey, so that you could get through whatever you've gotten through? Why do you think it was so important that this was handed to you as a task to help people understand it doesn't have to be what the world says you are?
I don't know if it was so much important, but it was this past year, because I've been fighting to get this book done that I've written.
Yes.
I've been fighting.
Talk about the book. Tell them about the book. Tell them about that, because that's healing. That's healing.
Yeah. So basically, I've been fighting to get the book done. It was going in and out of editing. It was going back, to my publicist to get it edited. It was going back and forth. And it was last year that I finally just sat down, bunkered down, and wrote my book and finished it so that it can be published. And by writing my book, it helped me, like you said, it helped me heal. And at the same time, it gave me a purpose to now speak about the incredibility that we all have. And it's just that we all have the ability to be incredible. It's just knowing and figuring out where it is you have to find it. And so once I got done with writing Incredibility 101, I started living on blind faith. This whole time I've been living on blind faith.
And that's what makes it faith.
Yeah.
Because if you could see what it was, it'd be like, okay, I'll take that. Oh, no, I don't want none of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'd never get into this. We'd be like,
I don't know how things happen. I just know that they do happen. And I see signs from my higher power all the time. I see them all the time. And it's funny how I can reflect and see these signs because I'm in tune with that spirit, with that nature of the universe.
Preach. And
I giggle now. Nowadays I giggle at it because I see what I see and other people don't see it.
That's right.
And
it has nothing to do with cray.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm not trying to. I got tired of trying to prove myself to people, and just prove myself to myself.
There you go.
And once I started doing that, I became a winner again because I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to lose. I was born not to lose, and I was raised to be a champion all my life. I was always a hard worker in sports, and in anything I do, I've always wanted to be a full accomplishment at that. And so I just wanted to put my focus towards that, and get better for the sake of my children, for them not to have to go through hardships anymore, and
amen.
And get some normalcy back in my life. And now I'm in a good place with it.
Yes.
So
Yes, you are. You guys, now you can see why I'm so excited that this guy is in my life and the opportunity to work with you. It's just amazing. You barely scratched the surface of where you're going. And I know that because one of my secret powers, superpowers, one of my anointed gifts, it really is, God gives me from time to time, a brief glimpse into other people's greatness. And that's exactly what happened with you and those others that I named. Ellie Lawton in the UK. Ellie and I talk back and forth quite frequently. And so nice to see you, Ellie. Good morning to you. She says, I can so relate to what you're describing, not the police part, but I think I can fly when in my manic phase. In my depressive phase, I have self-harm, self-hatred, and all these feelings were magnified. I also have suicidality 24/7. I hate when I get sectioned into a mental hospital. It's very scary. And of nowhere, I was forced to have ECT. Night times were the worst. So you see, this is what I'm talking about, Gilbert. This is why your courage to share and to shed those things that don't belong to us. The world points a finger and says, take this or else. Well, you know what? I get so encouraged when I meet someone like you who said, okay, well, run that or else, because I'm not going to accept it. And Ellie, you shouldn't accept it either. Maybe reach out.
Hang in there, Ellie.
Yeah, maybe reach out. I'm sure Gilbert will go in and leave you some nuggets after we get through this. And Gilbert, we're going to have you back. I'm thinking maybe we ought to put together a panel and have a 90-minute television special and have all kinds of different shamed mental health diagnoses. You know what I mean? Have the person that's got the multiple personalities, have the person that's got the bipolar, have the person who's got the ADHD or whatever it may be, so that we can get there and see, you know, we're more similar, even with these titles, these labels, than we are different. And that's where healing lives. I want to thank you. Now tell people, I know I have something for you as far as where they can find you, but tell us, you're going to get the book out this year. I know, because we're working together on it. That's right. What's the title again that we're working on?
Incredibility 101.
Incredibility 101. There it is. If you, and I know you do, have a desire to be that best version of yourself, to find your way to that intersection of today and divine purpose, then write that.
I typoed that banner. It's Gilbert R 333, not Gilbert. It's Gilbert R 333.
Gilbert R 333. So insert an R between the T and the 3.
There you
go. Insert an R there, and we will put a corrected version at the top of your thread as soon as we close. Gilbert, give everybody your Jerry Springer moment. We've got about 1 minute left, and I want you to leave them with something that you know will help.
I basically just rely on the sources of what I know and what I'm in control of it now. It's nothing. All the outside forces of it that are out of your control, they're just that. They're out of your control. Just focus on yourself and just focus on doing you every day, and what I call a quarterback life. You know, everybody wants to be the quarterback of the team. Well, it's just that, you know, every day quarterback your life and be in charge of the plays, be in charge of the ways, be in charge of the spaces that you're involved with, the people that you hang out with, and build your team around you so that you can get stronger every day.
There you go. Get that E and that R. You're already strong the moment you open your eyes. Take strong to stronger. Take bright to brighter. Take good to better. You know what, Gilbert? Thank you, man. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
I'll see you Sunday on your session. I'll see you then. Great job today, and great job from you today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Absolutely. Together, we have fulfilled that promise yet again, that when we come together and we mean it, we have the same heart set, the same soul set, the same spirit of forgiveness. Wonderful things will happen. It's a guarantee. Join me, won't you please, Monday morning, when my guest will be Caleb Blair, and we're going to do it again, God willing, at 8 a.m. Central. I'll meet you right out front on the front porch for our next illuminated conversation. Have a great weekend, Gilbert.
All right, thank you, too.
Hey, you guys, I'll see you Monday. Hey, get your tickets. Power of Weed coming up. I want to see you there. Bye-bye, all. Have a great day and be the blessing you want to receive. See ya.